Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today I'm shooting again from the sanctuary. I'm super comfortable here and loving how it's changing behind me as the show evolves. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm giving a shout out to thisent.com. Still working on getting a little bit more collaboration going on the data that we're collecting here and highlighting some of the shows and some of the themes that we're seeing. And I'm wearing a Fledge Fest t-shirt, and it reminds me that, we've got the Fledge's Freedom Fest. It's a weekend long, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday over the 4th of July, where we're taking another look at what freedom looks like in America. So we've got all kinds of resources and speakers and entertainment and food and pop-up markets and all of that all over the 4th of July weekend. So today on my show, I've got someone that's sitting there. Why the hell didn't he tell me about that Freedom Fest? And I'm thinking, I don't know. How you doing today, Sarah?
Hey, Jerry. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing well. So what you been up to today?
All right. Today, I slept in late. Let's see. It was a pretty uneventful day. Hung out with, I have a kid living with us. So we went on a walk. I've been trying to be better at planning out my day better. So I didn't have my coffee today because I knew I was going to be doing this. And I was like, I can't handle coffee today. I already have the jitters. So I sat there drinking some tea, planning out my day, just doing chores and stuff like that. And then after this, I'm going to be doing my main job, which is e-commerce, out in a barn that I have back behind our house. So that's my day.
That's awesome. You do your e-commerce out of a barn.
Yeah, it was some kind of God thing because I had a woman who came up to me at church one day, and she was new to church, and how she presented it seemed kind of like really iffy, but she said, I heard about your 517 living stuff that you do. I know you know how to do online stuff. She told me about her business, and she said, I am very sick and I want someone to take over my business, but I have thousands and thousands and thousands of items. And so I need someone who has somewhere to store them. And we had just built this barn, so it ended up working out. So I have someone else's e-commerce business that they built, and now I'm running it as the new owner. So it's been quite a journey. Yeah.
That's super interesting because you wouldn't think that is something that you could pass over to somebody very easily.
It was a little complicated, yeah, but it worked out well because she's a woman who, I could trust, and she wasn't trying to pull one over on me. So it was a learning process for sure, but a good one. It was a good one.
That's awesome. We might loop back to that a little bit as we talk through the conversation, but let's learn a little bit more about Sarah for a minute. Where were you born and raised, and where'd you go to school and all that good stuff?
Okay, so I got this wrong for a long time. I used to tell people I was born in Fort Wayne. I was actually born in Warsaw, Indiana. Let's see. I lived there. I lived in Indiana until I was halfway through first grade. Then we moved to Iowa, Jewell, Iowa, which I just went back to Jewell, Iowa for the first time in, 25 years a couple weeks ago, and it was so bizarre. It was the tiniest town, and it has not changed at all since I've moved. But we lived in Jewell, Iowa until I was in 8th grade, and then in 8th grade we moved to Mason. I went to school at Mason, graduated from Mason, went to Spring Arbor after that for psychology. I got my bachelor's in psychology, and then straight from college I went into just countless, I literally cannot count how many just bizarre crappy, torturous jobs of all kinds. And then somehow throughout all of that, I ended up creating 517 Living and started growing that. And I kind of pulled it from all my different experiences to kind of make 517 Living unique.
There's a whole podcast in there. You can call it bizarre, crappy, torturous jobs.
I tried to count one time how many jobs I had, and I think it was between 30 and 40. I think it was closer to 40, but I can't even remember. Weird path. Anyway.
I want to hear a story. I want to hear a torturous or bizarre story.
I mean, there was one job, and I think someone who is in your building right now will know what job I'm talking about because I think I saw her back there. But I used to have a job that I would pay my manager to let me not come in. And so I wouldn't get paid for the day. And I'd also be paying him that kind of stuff, that kind of stuff. But lots of marketing jobs, lots of, working for small local businesses. Those ones weren't my bad stories, but where I came along, the idea of 517 Living, I think was a lot to do with working for small local businesses who were very good at what they did, but they didn't know how to connect with the community, and they didn't have the resources or the marketing budget to be able to pay big advertising. So that was part of it. The other part of it was, I wanted to get more connected with my community because I decided, I'm going to be living here. I want to know about all the good things, the underground events, the lesser known gems. And so that's kind of how 517 Living came about.
Well, let's jump right into it. How's 517 Living going? Well, tell us about it because there's different facets of it, right? Yeah.
So 517 Living, just a quick rundown. I think it started back in, I should have checked this for sure, but I think it started back in 2000. I'm not even going to guess. It's been around many years now. I keep on thinking 2004, but that can't be right. But it started as a Twitter account of me finding, Twitter accounts that were sharing events that they were hosting or local goodness and stuff. And I would retweet their stuff and I would share it. And I built up a really big following it was big for me at the time. It was I think 6,000 or something like that. And I'm like, wow, people are really interested in this type of stuff. So I thought, instead of me just sharing all these different events on my Twitter feed, I should come up with some type of hub spot where I can be collecting all these events. And so I ended up making a website, just a real cheap one, which is still the same cheap one I have today through Squarespace, and finding an app, which is a front end submission calendar app, so that people can add their own events to the calendar, or I can add them. And then you can sort the events by event type and how much they cost, what area they're in, stuff like that. And then I built, since I didn't have a whole lot of money myself, still don't, that I built the group, the Facebook group, to direct traffic to that website so that I could find people in the community who were interested in exploring, going to events, and then say, here's the group for it, and everybody go to our website for the calendar. So right now, our main platforms are the website, 517living.com, the Facebook group, which is 517 Living Community, and that's grown to over 32,000 people, mostly in the area. Some are in Michigan, others are throughout the country. And then I have, other little things like Instagram and stuff, but main two are the website and the group.
So one of the things, a quick question. So who can add an event to the calendar? Is there a scope of events that you like? Can you be a huge?
I don't think I've ever turned down an event on the actual website. I mean, if people can even add political stuff on that website, I try to avoid political stuff as much as possible in the actual group because people get, up in arms and it's a big group. So it's just kind of risky. But on the actual event calendar, people can add anything. It can be a tiny little, it could be a house party for all I care. They could say, we're having a barbecue. Everyone's welcome. We're going to play some music. Come on over. It doesn't matter. Or it could be awesome. Something really big, like, a huge festival. You've got Juneteenth coming up this weekend. There's that big festival in Rio Town. And, the tags they have on that event that people can sort through is, outdoor music, food, art, kid friendly, all that stuff. So all kinds of stuff is welcome.
Should I put like 99 problems, but a pitch ain't
Yeah.
one on every time?
There's lots of virtual stuff on there. And I consider stuff like this an event. I mean, because it's an event,
I could put every day on there.
You could put every damn day on there, but I would say if you're going to do it, you should say for each one because you can go on the calendar and create an event and just set it to repeat every single day. But for you, I would say to maximize it, I would create a unique event for each one, saying like today we've got so-and-so. The next day we have so-and-so. But yeah, I definitely, Jerry.
Well, you're episode 278. We're going to do 365.
I'm writing down 278. I'm going to see if that number shows up anywhere else. What's that called? An angel number? I'm going to see if 278 shows up today.
I'd waste my money on a lottery ticket, probably. I'm playing 278.
Maybe I will do that.
So, yeah, I'm going to put 87 more events in your calendar then.
Good. We need something.
So, how many events, like, on average in a day, how many events do you think you have?
It varies. I could actually go look right now. Let me just see on the actual, I'm going to 517living.com. I'd say, just to give you an example, and my phone's super slow, we got one for Wednesday, June 16th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'd say that's about a typical day. I'm hoping that things keep growing though. I want more and more people to be like inspired by the event calendar, to be like, hey, I can make events now because I now have a good platform to let people know about it, and people might actually show up. I think sometimes people get really intimidated about event hosting because they're like, what if people don't show up, and that would be embarrassing and then a wasted effort, so yeah.
I have lots of events where nobody shows up,
Yeah, you never know. And you know what? I always say for people, I had a friend the other day, she had 3 people show up to her event that she had been promoting. And I'm like, whether 1 or 50 show up, just make it the best event they've been to. Just make them feel special, connect with them, learn from them. It's worth it still.
Yeah. So what, I think you did something else besides, it's 517 Living. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank on it. When you were doing the work with the nonprofits, like you have a directory?
Oh, yeah. So we also have the directory on our website. So if you go to 517living.com, and I'm trying to make it a little bit more visible, but if you go to the menu and you click directory, I'm building a local directory of locally owned businesses and locally founded organizations. All anyone needs to do to be in that directory, which is seen by, a lot of people. I promote it in all my emails. I post it in the group and stuff. Is you go to 517living.com/directory. There's directions on there. You submit a one-time $20 donation to the nonprofit organization of your choice. Right now, one of the organizations available to donate to is the Fledge Foundation. So someone could do a $20 one-time donation to the Fledge, and they get listed in the directory for life. So pretty simple.
I can't remember the amount, and I'm sorry. Is that through Facebook, the donation?
So I set up all of the fundraisers through Facebook because Facebook doesn't take a fee. And I actually don't know how many people have donated to that one yet. It's up for, I think, 2 months, and I'll probably do some blasts about it soon. I just switched it to new nonprofits. They change every couple months. So
yeah. But you did raise some money for us. I just don't know how much.
Oh, good. That's great. Yeah.
I know that for sure. Wonderful. And Facebook's kind of strange. We just get these checks that show up out of nowhere, and we're like
magical money. Like, cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope to raise, I think the 517 Living community in general, last I checked, had raised over the years, over $26,000 for local nonprofits, which, I mean, I know a lot of that came from during the pandemic. I think we raised a lot for the food bank, but it's not the main focus, but one of my main focuses for 517 Living is to invest in the community and help the good local nonprofits who are helping those in need in the community. So I love doing those type of things.
Do you, well, first of all, I need to go back. Thank you for helping the Fledge. Thank you for helping the community, because that's important work. And for somebody that has a platform to be able to boost other people's signals, I think it's a very great thing that you're using it in that way, because you probably could be promote, AT&T or whatever. If
well, you guys are a no-brainer. I mean, you're like the first one that comes to mind when it comes to good nonprofits in the area. Plus, I mean, you've got the business side of it too. I love everything about what you guys do. So,
well, thank you. We also love you, but I'm not sure we're doing it the way we need to be doing it. So I'm definitely getting on your calendar.
I'm on your show right now. Of course, you're supportive. You're very supportive.
Oh, I want to get more involved in the 517living.com and making sure we're on the calendar, making sure that all of those things. So
definitely do that, Jerry. I want to see all your Every Damn Day episodes on there ASAP.
You got it. You got it. Oh, are they easy to edit?
So right now, if someone needs to edit anything, they just send it to me and I edit it. They're working on why are you laughing? What?
Because I'm gonna drag you into my nightmare of rescheduling shows.
Because if you have rescheduled, that's no big deal, really. It's not a big deal. I don't mind. The developers who made the calendar app, they're constantly making improvements though. So I'm expecting that pretty soon people can do their own edits. So
awesome.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'll do a week out every week.
Perfect. That's a good way to do it.
All right. So I'll do that. So every Saturday or Sunday or something, I'll pick a weekend day because I'm a little bit less busy, and I'll populate your calendar for the week. But I'm going to do tomorrow and Saturday for sure.
And that type of stuff, like, that makes me look cool when people go to, not me, but 517 Living, when they go to the calendar and they see all these really unique, like, things like the Every Damn Day show, and then they realize too, like, oh, you can put virtual stuff and like shows and stuff like that are live, and then they'll add theirs. So I love that. Please do it.
So I don't really care that much if people go to my calendar. Like I have a calendar just because I feel like I should have a calendar.
Yeah.
But I think, do you mind if I start giving shout outs to 517living.com's calendar every day?
Yeah, Jerry, I mind. I really wish that you wouldn't tell people about.
All right. I'll honor that request.
I'm trying not to let anyone know about it.
But I think I should add you to the shout out part there.
Yes, definitely. I would love that. Absolutely.
Done. See, you should have came on the show earlier.
I know. I heard where you were talking on Megan Hammis's show, how you're like, Sarah won't come on here because she's shy. And you're like, I don't believe that. But I would say not so much shy as that I am very private and very introverted. So things like this, it's like, will I run 10 miles? Is it good for me? Like, I can do it. It is good for me. I'll feel better afterward. But it's like, it takes stuff out of you, but it's good for you. So absolutely, I was a little bit hesitant at first to come on here because I'm like, live, that's so vulnerable. People are watching, what if somebody asks a question and you feel put on the spot and, but I know ultimately you're a good person. You wouldn't put me in a bad position, and it's good for me, and it's good for 517 Living. And I love what you're doing, collecting the data with this show. I think you're kind of like a crazy genius. So keep it up. I'm a fan.
Well, thank you for that. But I want to talk about you more because, I think it's surprising. Like, I see you, let's say at the Artist Umbrella, might have been the last time I saw you. I don't know. Was it that long ago? It couldn't have been. But
no. I came out to the Fledge for an event. Urban Embodiment, I think.
Yep.
That's all you've been.
I harassed you then about the show too.
Yes, you did. that is the conversation I had in mind when, I remember you saying that we talked about imposter syndrome. It came up.
Yep.
We talked a little bit from that. So
that's exhausting too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think that you're an introvert because I think like when I meet you, when I think introvert, I think about, the kid, sitting in the corner playing on his phone or on the computer or, doesn't want to make eye contact with anybody. But, when you're a psychologist, so you can correct me, obviously. But, when people think of an introvert, they think of that. But the real definition is kind of, you don't need the external world to affirm you. You don't,
Right.
and you actually don't want to actually necessarily have to interact with that.
Yeah.
Do you cringe when people say you should?
When people say you should
do this to your site, or you should fix
Yeah,
that.
I do.
And I'm like, oh, get away, because I'm very introverted.
No, when there's a lot of suggestions that people have, and it always feels like I feel a little piece of energy coming out of me when they say it. I'm like, yeah, great idea. But I crave feedback, so it's so valuable to hear those things. But going back to the introverted extroverted thing, I would say for me it's like, where do I get my energy? I re-energize, I reboot when I come home, and like I have like, a small intimate group of people who I can recharge around. But when I go out or when I, put myself out there, I feel my battery draining, even though I love it. Like I love going to festivals. I love being around people. And then sometimes I act very extroverted. But I will say, I talked about this with someone on a radio show one time, and I thought, it made a lot of sense, even though I was working it out while I was saying it. 'Cause I'm like, what am I saying right now? I think that 517 Living has really like helped me get out of my shell. I dealt with a lot of social anxiety, especially when I first started 517 Living. I didn't ever want to do shows. I didn't ever want to go even to events sometimes because I had such social anxiety. But doing 517 Living, I realized, okay, there are so many great events out here. I need to just go to some of them, baby steps, go out to the events. And as I did more and more, even by myself sometimes, I realized that my social anxiety was going away. So that's one of the benefits I think that 517 Living offers, is it connects individuals with their community, which has a healing power. When you're connecting with your neighbors and you're getting to love, the businesses around you, you're shopping at businesses where the owners, it has a healing effect on an individual. And at least it did for me. And I've seen it do it for others.
Yeah. You just answered like 3 of the questions that I was going to ask you about.
Okay.
But I'm going to go back to them just a little. No. It's perfect because we must be in sync. I read this really interesting article that gave me some insight, because I had to force myself through that social anxiety, and I feel like I conquered that, but I'm still exhausted after I go to an event. And if I don't like have a drink to kind of calm me a little bit, then I'm even more exhausted. So that's a problem in itself, that I got to make sure that I'm not using that drink to,
I've got myself in that too. Yeah. I especially I've noticed like recently, I'm like more and more, it's just become part of my routine of using a drink to wind down at the end of the day. So I've been trying to find healthier alternatives. I actually just bought some CBD, this like pretty intense CBD from this lady that I was in my Facebook group. And I'm going to see if that helps me unwind a little bit more healthier than alcohol. We'll see. I just started taking it yesterday, so I'll give you an update on it.
Yeah. But I did just read a fascinating article about social introverts and how draining it is for an introvert, that you have to go home and recharge, and it's like you need that alone time, and it's hard to get sometimes. And I was going to ask you,
especially since you were saying like you've had 2 days away from the Fledge in the past 2 years, or
one day.
So especially for people like you, where you're, constantly in a social environment. Yeah. That's a lot.
To be honest, COVID was a good break for me. It was because at least I could lock the doors and say, I'm going to sit here for a minute, because before that, People,
Yeah,
it would be super crowded back here if
I
this
bet.
was a year and a half ago.
Social COVID had a lot of silver linings. The pandemic had a lot of silver linings. Among all the sadness and chaos and stress and worries, there was some serious silver linings. I feel more connected to a lot of people that I wasn't connected to before. So small blessings.
That's weird to me I have so many more. My connection list just skyrocketed, and I thought it was growing fast before.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're way bigger than before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was, I see, and it forced us as a community, as like a world, to a new level of creativity. And, we were forced to adapt, so in some ways it was very good for us. I hate saying that, but it's true. Yeah.
I think you've given us little pieces of it, but what's the mission? What's either your mission or the mission of 517living.com?
So the mission, I would say on paper, what I say, the mission for 517 Living Community is to connect Greater Lansing area locals, or Greater Lansing area people, with local events, local goodness, local conversations, local people, local places, activities, basically anything local that is uplifting and life enhancing. The goal is to, let's say if you're brand new to the Greater Lansing area, or you just are ready to finally connect with your community, that you can go to the 517 Living group or the 517 Living website and discover anything about the Greater Lansing area that you need to know, through whether it just be like asking the group. Every day there's different kinds of questions, like, I'm new to the area. I need help finding a good psychologist who can focus on this type of thing. Or even if you don't want to ask a personal question, you can have the admin ask privately for you. But or like, hey, I have my grandkids in the area. What can I do with them? Any question, anything you're looking for, I want people to be able to find it there.
And I'm going to post the group link right now. I've put your website there, but that's pretty.
Thank you. I'm gonna pull up my the actual mission, because I didn't say it very well. I'll make it more concise. Here it is.
Yeah.
It says 517 Living mission: connect Greater Lansing area residents and visitors with local life enhancing events, activities, places, businesses, organizations, resources, ideas, conversations, and people. That's the mission.
I like that mission a lot.
Yeah, me too.
What's something you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
Okay, see, that's a good question, and that's challenging, and that it's a good reminder for me, because I feel like, do I do something every damn day to grow the mission? I don't know. I feel like lately I've been neglecting it a little bit, but part of that is because I am trying to help it grow more organically and just kind of naturally, instead of being like spamming the group all the time, spamming people, check out my website. But I will say every damn day, one of the very first things I do is look at the group. First, I'm like, did anybody report any content? First, I gotta put out any dumpster fires that started overnight. That doesn't happen that often. Most people are pretty like cool with just good vibes in the group. But sometimes people have issues overnight. So I will address that. And then I go on and I approve any events that have been submitted to the calendar, make sure that those are up to date. Often, I guess this is every day, but I will often, share in the group something that I feel like is relevant for the community. Like, just so everybody knows, Juneteenth festival in Real Town is coming up this weekend, or whatever. So not every day do I post, but every single day I address the group notifications and I address the event calendar, event updates.
See, this thing's tricky. I can't figure out where people are walking up from behind me.
I am super thrown off by this setup, but
yeah. So yeah, the groups, man, they can get hard when people start bickering, especially, when it's election time or protest time or whatever polarizes us.
Yeah. And, like we were saying, like about being introverted, that's its own social realm in itself. I mean, it's not in-person socializing, but it can still be pretty exhausting. There's been some times where I just really wanted to just like, I'm just gonna put this group in the archives for a little bit, but I'm like, I can't do that. It's some people really count on it for connecting with the community, and so some days I'm not just quite as attentive, so things might sit for a while. But right now, now that the election is over, pandemic stuff is winding down, things are pretty chill. And I mean, I say that, but this morning I did get some hate mail on Facebook, but it was well-intentioned hate mail. I don't think he's a bad person. But yeah.
What?
You're looking at me funny. I think people misinterpret, because as I am the only moderator, I'm the only admin of the group. So, when someone gets muted for, starting a fight or attacking, somebody in the group, or if they get their post removed, they take it very personal, and they don't realize that, I'm one moderator for a group of over 32,000 people, and I mute, block, remove content from all people of all belief systems, every walk of life. It's not personal. It's just, I'm trying to keep the group focused. Yeah, that's all.
It is a massive group. I mean, 32,000 people. Are there many bigger groups in this area in 517?
There's let's see, what are some of the other big groups? Lansing Foodies is pretty big.
Oh yeah.
The Not Your Mother's Networking group, they're growing. Let's see,
that group amazes me because it only deals with like half the population.
I know. Yeah. Which it's very, very specific, and they do a really good job moderating the group, so it's not redundant. They're very careful. I've gotten a lot of stuff rejected in that group, and I'm like, ooh, I wasn't following the rules, but it's a good group.
So shout out to Lisney real quick.
Yes. Good job, Lisney. I think, is she the only one now? They used to have more moderators, but I know some of them moved. Anyway, even though the group is big, it really does not require much of me anymore. I have set it so that group members, and this is very important because a lot of people still don't do this, group members can go to our announcement section and they'll find our rules post. If you read the rules post and you comment on it that says, I agree to follow these rules, you get pre-approved posting status for the group. That means you don't have to wait for an admin to approve your posts. It goes through immediately, whether it's 3 a.m. or whatever, your stuff is gonna go live right away. And that actually, it makes it easier for the members. They don't have to wait for me, their stuff is live immediately. And it's easier for me because I don't have to go through checking everybody's stuff, like were they following the rules, approve. No, it's very hands-off. The group is becoming kind of a well-run, self-run machine, kind of. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm literally just there to keep things on point, and it's doing a good job on its own now. The members are kind of running it now in some ways. I wish I could just do that with the entire Fledge. And we are actually working on it. It's called a decentralized autonomous organization, and it's a crypto thing. Yeah.
We've been doing these little experiments with it. So
you always got something going on. Like you said, we do need to figure out how to work together more with our businesses, because I think you have a lot of really cool stuff going on that I need to be more in the loop on, and that's my bad. I sometimes get in my own little bubble.
I was just gonna say that it's my bad. So
no, it's my bad. Yeah, no.
We're gonna try to apologize.
Right. No, we'll be better at staying connected. It's there's a lot going on, a lot to keep track of for you. I know there's always stuff going on over there, but.
Well, I think if I add it to because I had to build routines, and I had to get disciplined at doing things about this show, and adding one more little data point I think will be perfect and pretty easy to do. And I
Yeah.
already set a reminder for tomorrow. So
Okay.
I'm in.
Okay,
So
that's good.
we daisy chain these shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had a Reiki master, and his question came out of I thought he was going to ask something, I don't know, energy driven or something.
Okay.
His question was, if the Fledge gave you a grant, I don't have any grants, but I will definitely work on one with you if you want to. What would you do with the money?
Okay. I mean, it depends on how. Okay, so your grants are usually they're
$50 million. No, I don't.
$50 million. They're usually like around 1,000 and less, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I would, if this is something that the Fledge would get a grant to, hypothetically, I would probably just throw a huge party. Like I would have like probably outdoor at a cool park, great music, great food, all kinds of activities from local businesses. I would use money to throw a party for sure. And I would make it free for everyone, kid friendly, very inclusive. I just want it to be just like the best festival community party ever. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. You're convincing me that we should give you a grant. I want to come to a party.
I mean, you have many other worthy businesses to invest in, but that's what I would do with it. No pressure.
I used to be a judge at Newcomers, New Ideas. The Refugee Development Center puts a pitch competition on every year, and they had to take a break the last 2 years now because of COVID. And the kids that were from the RDC are all, living, either they were refugees and they moved here from a camp, or they are living with parents that were. Mm-hmm. And they all of the problems that they try to solve reflect what they see in the community. So it's not, I'm going to make a better beer bong cup or whatever so it doesn't spill my beer. It's like, we need better transportation. We need this. But almost every time, 20-30% of the kids I just want to have that party that we used to have.
Oh,
there used to be a World Day party or something that Lansing had.
Yeah, that rings a bell to me. I think that those kids, that breaks my heart. Like sometimes people hear a party and they just think, oh, a bunch of people being stupid and crazy. But when I say party, I mean what those kids are looking for. It's that connection with your community, that joy, that happiness that you get from just celebrating life with the people around you, so.
Yeah.
I'll tell those kids we're gonna have a party someday soon. Okay.
Well, now we have to make this happen.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
Because I'm definitely telling
Jerry.
the kids, so it's gonna be a promise.
Let's have a party.
Okay. Tomorrow on the show, speaking of parties, actually, this is kind of one. Evan Carr, he's an out of towner. I need to figure out where he was from. I'll ask him tomorrow. He is having a ecstatic dance, and so we're going to talk about that. And do you know what that is?
Ecstatic dance.
Yeah, is that how
am I
saying
picture it? When I picture this in my head, I picture people like flowing around like
exactly
hippies in the nature or something. Okay.
Yeah, very much so, because it's going to be at Fenner Park. It's a silent disco, so everyone has headphones on. It's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
What question would you like me to ask Evan on your behalf?
Okay. So this is a question I've asked before, so it comes to mind. What is something, you said his name's Evan?
Yeah.
Evan, what is something that you would like to do in the greater Lansing area that you have not yet done? And pick a date by when you'll have that done. Like whatever you pick, say, and I'm going to do it by this date. And it has to be by the end of the year. That's my question. Right. So what would you like to do in the greater Lansing area that you have not yet done? Kind of like a bucket list type thing, not just something like stupid, but something meaningful.
And we're going to put that date on the 517living.com calendar, and we're going to hold you
Ooh.
accountable with your 32,000 members.
We're going to start a countdown every day. Yes, I like it.
Let me flip that question on you, because you've done a lot here, but there's still stuff to do probably. What's something you'd like to do that you haven't done yet?
There are many, many things I have not done that I would like to do. The one that comes to mind, I actually, at your event that you guys had, the fundraiser for the Fledge, I won a gift certificate to Release Fitness kickboxing. Yeah. I have always wanted to do kickboxing and I've never done it. And I don't know why. There's something about it that's kind of intimidating. I think just like the sweatiness and aggression of like being in the equipment and punching and getting, I don't know. And I'm not a very athletic person at all. So just putting myself in that position where people are going to see me failing at something. So kickboxing at Release Fitness, that's going to be mine. And when should I do it by? This is a crazy next 2 months. August, end of September.
All right. And I just want to, if you don't know Release Fitness, Aurelia is amazing. And she has opened this, or she has started this organization for exactly what you just said.
Okay.
That it's for women and for kids and for people that are uncomfortable with getting into it, and you don't want to go into some gym and, you know, people are harassing you or gaslighting you or, you know, whatever. So
yeah.
She's
Did I just
awesome.
freeze up? I lost you for a second.
Just for a second.
Okay.
Just for a second.
Perfect. I heard most of that though. Good. Okay, that makes me more comfortable. I did know it was woman owned, so I figured it was kind of female friendly with like wimps like me. So that's encouraging though.
Yep. And she's also made sure that it's LGBTQIA plus friendly. And she's doing a great job.
I'm excited. Yes.
All right. So into September, Release Fitness. I'll be checking in with Aurelia to make sure.
What happens? Okay, I'm not going to do it, but what would happen if I didn't do it? Is there a penalty involved?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that.
My own question I made up. I guess I should. Okay.
We should throw in a consequence.
How do you hold people accountable to the consequence? Okay, the consequence.
Let's be better people than that.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm going to flip it a little bit.
No punishments here.
Right. What's the reward if you do?
Oh, okay. I like this. Good psychology. $1 million from Jerry.
Okay. As soon as I raise that, I will give you your piece.
Perfect. Sounds good. That's a plan.
I don't know if this is contractual or not. I gotta be
it's documented. This is documented.
Happiness, sadness, joy, or hope. Which word would you like to talk about?
I would pick hope.
So what gives you hope?
So what gives me hope? I see, let's see, for me personally, the possibilities of a better future by making better decisions today. And I would say things that give me hope, seeing, for example, we've had a kid living with us through a program and his family was in crisis, and seeing how his family, the organization is called Safe Families for Children, and seeing how this organization invested in this little family that was in a crisis. And I've been able to watch this little group of wonderful human beings grow for the past 6 months and build their way to a better future. And I've seen that organizations like that can change whole generations, can just completely transform lives. So when I see transformations like that, when I see people helping other people just because their heart is calling them to, not out of like financial gain or whatever, people helping others, what's the word, altruistically? that gives me hope.
I was,
Better
you know, when you chose hope, the only vision that popped in my head was that kid, was that little boy that you
Yeah.
showed
Yeah,
before the show.
kids like that give me hope. When you see, and I'll just say it's not specific to his story because I don't want to tie anything to any one person, but I'll say when you see kids who come from the darkest times and the most traumatic situations with so much hurt, so much like damage being done, and you see how resilient they are and how fast they can just move forward, push forward with just bright smiles on their face. Yeah, that's hope. That gives me hope.
I love it. So we got one of those comments you were worried about.
Oh, great. Greg. Greg. I love that guy.
Sarah is the rock star.
He started a lot of interesting group conversations. He knows it. He's also, he's had some discussions with me before about me removing his content, but he was an understanding person. He's one of those community members who's like, I get your rules. I break them, but I forgive you if you remove my content. Love you, Greg. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. And he said kids are always inspiring also.
Absolutely.
So, there it goes. We were shooting for 30 minutes. It's been 46. I knew we were going to talk a lot, but
you're easy to talk to, Jerry.
And so are you. And thank you so very much for coming on the show, and I appreciate it. And we're going to work tighter together. We're starting tomorrow with Every Damn Day, and 99 Problems is tomorrow at 3:30. So we'll throw that on there.
Yes, definitely. That's a good one too to go on there.
And then we were playing with the dates and times, so it actually couldn't have put the Freedom Fest on earlier than this, but we'll definitely be putting that on as well too.
Perfect.
Now everything's firmed up after this morning.
Perfect. That sounds great.
So there's my promise to you too. And tomorrow on the show, come learn about the big dance party we're having in Fenner, and Every Damn Day at 2 p.m. We'll be here, and you can find us on 517living.com's calendar, or at least the week ahead. Yes. So what would you like to take us out with?
I would say my final piece of, I don't know, truth, intelligence, whatever, to the world, anyone who watches this at any point, is something that I have learned while doing 517 Living. And it's kind of, just a no-brainer. Everybody's heard it, but put yourself out of your comfort zone. As long as it's in a way that aligns with your values, get uncomfortable, because it will help you develop so much as a person and strengthen, any weaknesses you have. It is just getting out of your comfort zone is the key to living a more fulfilling life, in my experience.
I love that advice.
But with that addition of, as long as it is in alignment with your values, because there's often been times that I have thought about getting out of my comfort zone on things, but I'm like, that's not the life I want, though. So. Yeah.
You just want to go for a couple more hours and make this the longest Every Damn Day? Because there's so much I want to talk about that.
Well, Jerry, I'm sure you have many more valuable things to do with your day, knowing what your days are like. But I would love to continue this discussion at our party that we're hosting.
With the $1 million that you win for kickboxing before the end of September.
Yes, everyone, look forward to this.
All right, there's got to be a way we could raise $1 million. We're thinking too small.
Hey, let's just brainstorm. We'll just chew on it for a while. We'll figure something out.
Sarah, thank you so very much. I've been waiting for this day for a bit. So stick with me for 1 sec.